can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So, a good performance from both teams.
Hi, you're watching Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Right, on the show today, Pakistan Cricket Board boss Mohsin Naqvi continues to throw more demands. This one takes the cake. The ACC meeting ended in stalemate yesterday. BCCI is unhappy, even as Naqvi finds himself losing support back home. Stay tuned for all on this developing story. And Donald Trump cuts into this raging protest by Europe to remove Israel from all footballing tournaments. Trump calls for truce, and UEFA seems to be obliging. Is USA pressuring football's governing bodies to toe the line that he's drawn? And Indian football dealt another blow. The AFC Asian Football Confederation has removed Mohun Bagan after the club requested for a neutral venue for security reasons and then refused to travel to Iran. Is AFC biased against India? All of that heading away, but first, Sports 360. Starting with updates from Women's Cricket World Cup, India opened their campaign with a 59-run win over Sri Lanka in a rain-curtailed match. Deepti Sharma gave an all-round performance. She scored 53 and then picked up 3 wickets to help India win. They next face Pakistan on the 5th of October. On to football, and the Champions League manager Jose Mourinho's return to Chelsea ended in heartbreak. His side Benfica lost their match 1-0 to the London club. Richard Rios scored an own goal to hand Chelsea the win. Meanwhile, Liverpool was stunned by Turkish club Galatasaray 1-0. Victor Osimhen scored from the spot to give Galatasaray crucial 3 points. On to tennis, world number 1 Carlos Alcaraz won the Japan Open. The Spaniard beat second seed Taylor Fritz in straight sets. This was Alcaraz's 8th title this season. In another record, he's reached 9 consecutive ATP finals, winning 7 of them. This even as world number 2 Yannick Sinner won the China Open. The Italian beat American teenager Lerner Tien in straight sets. This was Sinner's 21st career trophy and 2nd title in Beijing. And summing it up with updates from World Para Athletics, 2-time Paralympic champion Sumit Antal secured his 3rd world title with a throw of 71.37 meters. India's golden boy Neeraj Chopra was there to support the champion. With Antal's win, India have now won 4 golds and a total of 9 medals. They are 4th on the points table behind China, who have won 16. Pakistan's Interior Minister and PCB Chief Mohsin Naqvi continues to play hardball, knowing that this saga will only end one way, in his abject embarrassment. But it won't just be that. Pakistan's credibility and pride, whatever little is left of it, is bound to take a further nosedive too. Much has happened over the last 24 hours. I'll get into that one by one, but here's the question. Is Naqvi not only alienating the top brass in the cricketing fraternity with his childish demands, or are Pakistan's top voices also distancing themselves from the antics of someone who has clearly gone rogue? So what's happened over the last one day? The ACC, Asian Cricket Council, held a meeting. It was an online discussion that every member was a part of. And top of the agenda, of course, was the Asia Cup trophy. The matter of the ACC president withholding the silverware and refusing to hand it over to the winning team. The BCCI representatives present were Ashish, Shelar and Rajiv, Shukla. The Indian officials raised objections to the way Mohsin Naqvi had dealt with the whole situation over the last few days, even pointing out that he was yet to congratulate the winners and do his due diligence as ACC president. BCCI even went to the extent of trying to come up with a compromising gesture, suggesting that Naqvi just has to keep the trophy at the ACC offices in Dubai and BCCI will ensure it is picked up. Seems absolutely fair. No one has to necessarily climb down from their positions, but there was no response to this either. Naqvi refused to do this. Instead, the PCB boss continued to stay belligerent. His demands have not stopped. He now says he doesn't want a presentation, okay, but the Indian captain Surya Kumar Yadav will have to come and take the trophy personally from him. And that's when all hell broke loose. BCCI left the meeting turning what was supposed to be a childish antic into yet another cause for further friction, something that can only go south. This is now endless provocation. If Naqvi wanted the world's sympathy for his stature and position as ACC president and to be respected and acknowledged, he will get none of that now, because here's what's happened. The prominent voices in his own country are now critiquing him, starting with Imran Khan, former Pakistan captain, who has likened his tactics and behavior when it comes to representing Pakistan cricket to that of Asim Munir, saying if one is ruining the country, the other is tarnishing the country's cricketing system.
What Mohsin Naqvi is doing to cricket is exactly what Army Chief General Asim Munir is doing to Pakistan.
And it's not just him. Shahid Afridi, who has time and again stood up to India, has been vocal in his support of Pakistan and its armed forces, is now saying Naqvi has failed to live up to all his responsibilities. Clearly, he's struggling to maintain his decorum and sensibilities while straddling three top posts, and that is blurring his judgment.
PCB is different from the Interior Ministry. It must be kept separate. These are two very important posts and they are big jobs that need time. It would be a great decision and should be taken as soon as possible. Naqvi cannot rely totally on advisors.
Naqvi finds no support in the cricketing world for his actions now. No support within his country, because it is now increasingly seeming like he's doing all of this just to satisfy his whims and fancy, out of spite. That he has no wish to uphold the sport, his own credibility, that of his country, and his judgment as an administrator. Well, to be honest, that left his side the day he decided to walk out of the stadium with the trophy without handing it over at the presentation or giving it on to someone to pass it on to the winning team. Looks like it has just not returned. After the clamor for Nobel Peace Prize nominations, maybe it's time US President Donald Trump gets another honor, the tag of the savior. Because just as soon as America put forward a peace plan for Gaza, Europe's football governing body UEFA has suddenly pressed pause on a potential ban on Israel. Washington is playing savior not just in geopolitics but in the world of sport for Israel. But here's the real question. Was UEFA's decision because of Trump's peace plan, or was it because of America's open threats? Because make no mistake, Israel is under tremendous pressure in both political and sporting fronts. Across the world, calls are growing louder, demanding Israel's sporting isolation. Spain, Italy, and other major football nations want action. Action to be taken against Israel. Protests have echoed in stadiums, in parliaments, and the calls haven't died down. Even after UEFA's decision to delay things, Norway has gone a step further, demanding a total suspension.
In general, we are now working for Israel to be sanctioned. We believe that they should be, and this is about upholding the rules. Personally, I believe that since Russia is out, Israel should also be out.
This is exactly why UEFA has been weighing the possibility of suspending Israel. The pressure from European teams has been immense. But the other side of the story is this. When Europe wanted Israel out, Washington said, "Not under our watch." That was not a statement, that's a direct challenge, a warning, and UEFA knows they cannot simply ignore it. Because let's face it, any decision UEFA takes doesn't just stay in Europe, it directly impacts FIFA. The two bodies cannot clash on one subject, something that is bound to impact FIFA boss Gianni Infantino's personal relationship with Donald Trump. For a second though, let's keep those friendships aside. Even if America isn't a football-crazy country like Brazil or Spain or Argentina, it's still a gold mine for FIFA and UEFA. Billions of dollars are tied up in the American market. The country will host the Men's World Cup next year. Domestic leagues are already plotting to host matches in the US. The famous Barcelona versus Villarreal match in Miami, that's still on the table. Clearly, UEFA doesn't want anything to upset their carefully laid out plans. Nothing that can burn bridges with Washington. So Trump's so-called peace plan has actually come as the perfect excuse at the perfect time. A shield in disguise. UEFA now gets to say we aren't suspending Israel because diplomacy is in play, when in reality all they are hoping to do is protect their financial and their financial and political interests in keeping USA happy. The glaring question is, if Russia was banned for its war, then why not Israel? The difference is simple. Russia had no America backing, Israel does. And that's where Donald Trump's role becomes critical here. For Israel, he's not just a political ally, he's the ultimate insurance policy. For UEFA, he is the safety valve that allows them to dodge the global outrage that's only building up while keeping the money flowing. Also, banning Israel doesn't just mean punishing one country alone. It will and is bound to trigger a domino effect. The big question here, though, is how long can this shield hold? Because the noise in Europe is only going to grow louder, we know it, and sooner or later UEFA will have to decide. Will they bend to political pressures or keep protecting their biggest ally's biggest ally? For now, Donald Trump has given Israel some time and space to breathe, but in the world of football, as too in politics, the clock is ticking. Is it really the Asian Football Confederation, or should we start calling out the bias? Because with AFC's latest actions, that is becoming crystal clear. India's most iconic club, Mohun Bagan supergiant, is staring at a multiple-year suspension only because they refused to travel to Iran, and that too citing security concerns. Let's be clear here, this wasn't arrogance, this wasn't meant as a disrespect to the tournament. It was a simple call, one taken with the intent of protecting their own players. Mohun Bagan had formally requested AFC to shift their clash against Iran's Sepahan SC to a neutral venue. Their international players have expressed genuine fear, given the volatile situation in West Asia. But AFC, they didn't budge. They outright dismissed the request. So the club prioritized safety. They refused to travel. Exactly what happened last year when they had to face Tractor SC. Remember, back then it was peak Israel-Iran conflict. And again, Mohun Bagan pulled out, not out of ego, but out of caution, because AFC left them with no other choice. But AFC's response has been consistent too, punishment. Last year, elimination. This year, elimination plus a looming threat of a multi-year suspension. Now, here's the problem with that. Fans are furious. Many are slamming Mohun Bagan's management as cowardice. But let's ask a simple question here. What was the club supposed to do? And above all, if tomorrow an Australian or Japanese or even a Saudi club raised the same concerns, would AFC be just as harsh? No. They'll be very understanding, because that's what the past has told us. Last year, a World Cup qualifier between Iran and Qatar was shifted to Dubai. The Asian Champions League tie between Saudi club Al Nassr and Esteghlal also moved because it was Cristiano Ronaldo's team. Earlier this year, the AFC Women's Asian Cup qualifiers shifted from Jordan to Qatar. So clearly, when it's certain clubs, certain entities, AFC finds solutions. But when it's an Indian club, suddenly rules are rules. Let's add another layer here. If something happens to a European player in Iran, their government steps in. If it's an Australian or Japanese player, their embassies, they act immediately. But if it's an Indian club, who will guarantee protection? That's the reality that Mohun Bagan had to consider. And it's not just about safety, it's about prestige. The prestige of one of Asia's oldest football clubs, a team that carries a legacy of 130 years. Yet AFC's double standards make it look like Mohun Bagan are the real villains. But the truth is, the real villain here is the bias that AFC seems to be acting upon. Think about it. Europe bans Russian teams after the Ukraine invasion. Norway's FA president openly demands Israel's suspension from world football. And in Asia, matches are shifted at will to protect clubs of Saudi Arabia, Qatar or Iran. But when India asks for a neutral venue, AFC opens up the rule book. Why? So yes, fans must call out Mohun Bagan's management for sure, pull them up when right, but not for refusing to travel. They must call them out for not fighting hard, for not questioning AFC's hypocrisy, because look at cricket. BCCI never spares PCB. Even though PCB chief Mohsin Naqvi is ACC president, India openly demands action against him. They don't allow double standards to pass through. Football in India, that's silent. Sure, Mohun Bagan has done something about it this time. Unlike last year, they have approached the Court of Arbitration for Sport. But what are they seeking? A fair resolution. But it cannot just be about saving themselves. They must demand accountability from AFC. Either AFC applies the same rules for all or admit openly that India doesn't count in Asian football politics. Because India is paying the price for not having global football icons, no celebrity superstar to rally behind, no heavyweight to pull through in the AFC boardrooms. So the real battle isn't just Mohun Bagan versus AFC, it's India versus systemic bias. And unless Indian football learns to fight, we'll keep losing off the pitch even before the game begins. Time for Last Serve. We bring you stunning visuals from a daring climb taking place at a height of 2,500 meters. Professional climber Domen Skofic has created history, becoming the first person ever to conquer a specially constructed climbing route built under the wings of a glider aircraft. Braving freezing temperatures that dropped to -10 degrees, Skofic fought through the odds, defied gravity and mastered his incredible act in the sky, a feat that combines sheer strength, precision and the spirit of adventure, all captured midair. Take a look.
Shahid.
That wraps it up here on Firstpost. I'll of course see you again tomorrow. Till then, do take care. Bye-bye.